Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today is an absolutely beautiful day, but the skies over Fairmont Crest are looking incredibly stormy, and I am entirely here for it. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk about the Richardson family, because the foundation of Martin and Smitty's marriage is cracking right before our very eyes, and the fallout could be catastrophic. I have been watching Martin Richardson navigate the treacherous, murky waters of local politics for quite some time now. And I can't help but feel like he is completely losing his grip on the one person who is supposed to be his absolute anchor. Smitty is disappointing Martin in a way that feels deeply foundational. And honestly, it is definitely not a good look, especially with Martin's congressional reelection campaign hanging delicately in the balance. We all know that in the high stakes world of politics, public perception is absolutely everything. A united, flawless front is mandatory. But what we are witnessing right now behind closed doors is the exact opposite of that. Smitty is actively reverting to his hardcore investigative journalism roots, and this shift is creating a massive, undeniable rift between them. It seems that Smitty is rapidly reaching a point where he might actually prioritize the cold, hard truth over protecting his husband's fragile political ambitions, and maybe even over protecting their entire family. If you ask me, this was always going to happen eventually. Smitty is a journalist down to his very marrow. You cannot just flip a switch and turn off that insatiable, burning drive to uncover hidden truths, no matter how much you love your husband or how much you desperately want to play the role of the supportive political spouse. We have seen this exact dynamic play out before. Smitty has a long, incredibly complicated history of following the money and uncovering shady financial trails that lead directly back to Martin and the powerful people orbiting him. He has this uncanny, almost terrifying ability to sniff out corruption. And right now, his radar is pinging louder than it ever has. I keep coming back to this idea that Smitty genuinely thought he could suppress his natural instincts for the sake of domestic peace, but the reporter inside him is starving, and he has finally caught a scent that he simply cannot bring himself to ignore. What really caught my attention recently are the specific calculated moves Smitty is making behind Martin's back. He is not just casually asking questions around town. He is actively recruiting help from some very capable, dangerous people. Smitty recently reached out to Jacob Hawthorne for assistance, and guys, that is a massive, glaring red flag for Martin. Jacob is an undercover cop who is already dealing with his own intense PTSD and a borderline unhealthy obsession with taking down criminal rings like the one run by the Impaler. If Smitty is pulling Jacob into his orbit, it means whatever he is investigating is dangerous, deeply buried, and likely highly illegal. But the moment that truly made my jaw drop to the floor was when Martin cornered Kat Richardson about a private, highly suspicious conversation she had recently had with Smitty. Something about this specific interaction just doesn't sit right with me. Why, Kat? Kat is Martin's daughter. She recently went through that incredibly traumatic liver transplant surgery to save Eva Thomas, and she has been exhibiting some intensely erratic behavior lately, like impulsively buying luxury condos and rejecting proposals. So why on earth is Smitty having secret, hushed conversations with her? Martin is not an idiot. He felt the subtle shift in the air. He noticed that something was completely off about their interaction. Because Smitty is his husband, The mere fact that Smitty is having secret sidebars with Kat makes Martin intensely paranoid. He wants to know exactly what was said. He is desperate to find out if Kat knows something that Smitty is deliberately and maliciously hiding from him. Martin's questioning of Kat wasn't just casual, passing curiosity. It was a full-blown interrogation masked thinly as parental concern. He was guarded, probing, and incredibly defensive throughout the entire exchange. He is trying to figure out the exact perimeter of Smitty's current knowledge. I might be wrong, but I strongly believe that Martin is absolutely terrified that Smitty is using Kat to either gather sensitive inside information or to quietly prepare the family for an impending explosive revelation. This takes us right back to the core rotting issue of their relationship. Martin and Smitty have had some incredibly dark, turbulent periods in their marriage. They have literally sat down together in the past and looked back at the exact moments their relationship almost completely disintegrated. So for Martin, this isn't just about a random news story. This is about basic survival. He is looking at his husband and wondering if the man he loves is about to become the primary architect of his total destruction. There is a very strong chance that Smitty is digging into a story that Martin has explicitly, aggressively forbidden him from touching. We are talking about a narrative that could not only destroy Martin's political career overnight, but could literally send half the family to federal prison. If Smitty brings this information to the light of day, the collateral damage would be unimaginable. And the craziest part is that I think Smitty knows exactly how dangerous this is, but he simply cannot stop himself. He is standing at the edge of a massive cliff, looking down at the darkest secrets of the Richardson and Dupree families, and he is seriously contemplating jumping. He is on the verge of committing what Martin views as the ultimate betrayal, choosing his profession over his husband's safety. Now, we have to talk about the massive elephant in the room, because we all know exactly what the biggest, darkest secret in Martin's closet really is. We have to go back about 2 years ago to a horrific event that permanently altered the trajectory of these characters' lives. Martin and Vernon Dupree were in a highly dangerous, sketchy area, completely out of their element, when they were viciously attacked by two men. The situation devolved into absolute chaos, a pure primal fight for basic survival. And in the heat of that terrifying, adrenaline-fueled moment, Martin crossed a line from which there is absolutely no return. He fought back with such immense lethal force that he literally beat one of the attackers to death with his bare hands. But the nightmare didn't end there. The second attacker, a man named Kenneth, was beaten within an inch of his life. He was severely, catastrophically injured. And what did the family do? Did they call the police? Did they claim self-defense and let the justice system handle it? Absolutely not. They orchestrated a massive, highly illegal, and incredibly complex cover-up. Martin's father, Ted Richardson, who is a highly respected doctor at Garland Memorial, was brought in to secretly treat Kenneth's injuries off the books. They patched this guy up in the shadows, far away from any hospital records, insurance claims, or police reports. And then they paid Kenneth an exorbitant amount of hush money to simply vanish off the face of the earth. They bought his silence and genuinely thought the nightmare was over forever. But in Fairmont Crest, the past never actually stays buried, does it? Kenneth eventually came back and he started relentlessly blackmailing Martin. He held this horrific, bloody secret over Martin's head, threatening to destroy everything Martin had built and expose Vernon and Ted in the process. It was a ticking time bomb that was slowly driving Martin completely insane. And then, in a twist that is still shrouded in absolute mystery, Kenneth was found dead in a local park under incredibly suspicious circumstances. The show never really gave us the full, unvarnished truth about who exactly tied up that loose end. The police investigation just sort of faded away, swept under the rug by powerful people with deep pockets. But the blood is still there, staining the hands of everyone involved in that initial cover-up. Here is the absolute kicker, guys. Smitty already knows this truth. Martin, in a rare moment of complete vulnerability and desperation, actually confessed the entire bloody saga to his husband. He told Smitty about the brutal attack, the accidental murder, the cover-up with Vernon and Ted, and the relentless blackmail. And it was this exact confession that nearly shattered their marriage the first time around. Smitty was horrified. He was disgusted by the lengths his husband and his family would go to in order to protect their social status and freedom. But ultimately, Smitty made a choice. He chose Martin. He chose the marriage. He made a conscious, painful decision to bury his journalistic integrity to protect the man he loved. Smitty has previously been very vocal about the fact that if Martin were to come clean and tell the whole truth, the resulting media circus would completely annihilate the family. It wouldn't just be Martin going down for manslaughter or murder. It would drag Vernon, Anita, Ted, and everyone associated with the Dupree and Richardson empires into a massive legal and public relations nightmare. Smitty knew that exposing the truth would mean sending his own family members to prison. So he stayed quiet. He swallowed the poison and tried to live a normal, happy life with a man who had taken someone else's life. But now everything is changing and the ground is shifting beneath their feet. What if Smitty's current investigation into the red market or Dr. Leah Whitmore or whatever he is looking into with Jacob Hawthorne has accidentally intersected with the Kenneth cover-up? We know Smitty is digging deep into the underground plasma ring. What if the dangerous people involved in that syndicate had ties to Kenneth? What if Kenneth's death in the park wasn't just a random mugging, but a calculated hit ordered by someone in Martin's inner circle, and Smitty has just found the undeniable paper trail? I can't help but feel like the universe is forcing Smitty to confront the very demon he tried so hard to ignore. If Smitty is actively pulling at the threads of Kenneth's death, or investigating exactly how the family handled the bloody aftermath of that horrific night 2 years ago, Martin has every single right to be absolutely terrified. From Martin's perspective, this isn't just a marital betrayal, it is an execution. Martin has dodged questions about this secret repeatedly, shutting Smitty down every single time the topic even grazes their conversations. Martin knows that this is the ultimate weak point in their relationship. It is the one deeply infected wound that never truly healed, and now Smitty is poking at it with a scalpel. I keep coming back to this idea that Smitty is fundamentally incapable of letting a story die, especially when he realizes the initial cover-up might have spawned even more horrific crimes. Maybe Smitty isn't actively trying to destroy Martin. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but what if Smitty genuinely believes that the only way to truly save Martin's soul is to force everything into the blazing light? Smitty might rationalize that the blackmail, the intense paranoia, and the suffocating lies are slowly eating Martin alive, and that the only path to true redemption is a full public confession, regardless of the political or legal fallout. But Martin certainly doesn't see it that way. To Martin, A secret is a secret, and loyalty means taking that secret straight to the grave. The tension between them right now is absolutely suffocating. Every time Smitty leaves the house, Martin has to wonder if his husband is meeting with Jacob to hand over damning evidence. Every time Smitty talks to Kat, Martin has to wonder if he is preparing his daughter for the day her father gets arrested and hauled away in handcuffs. The psychological toll this is taking on Martin is immense, and it is inevitably going to bleed into his political campaign. You cannot run for Congress, shake hands, and smile for the cameras when you are internally panicking that your spouse is about to drop a nuclear bomb on your entire existence. The truth might be more complicated than it looks, guys. We have to seriously consider Vernon's role in all of this. Vernon is an absolute powerhouse. He is fiercely protective, utterly ruthless when he needs to be, and he was right there with Martin during the attack. If Vernon gets even a slight hint that Smitty is sniffing around the Kenneth situation again, Vernon will not hesitate to neutralize the threat. Vernon doesn't play by the same emotional rules as Martin. If Smitty becomes a liability to the Dupree family's safety and reputation, Vernon might take matters into his own hands, and that would put Martin in an impossible, heartbreaking position. Choose your husband or choose your family. And what about Ted? Ted Richardson, the esteemed, beloved doctor who blatantly violated his Hippocratic oath to secretly treat a criminal in order to protect his son. Ted is currently living his best life, deeply in love with Shanice Johnson, planning romantic vacations and a serious future. Imagine the absolute devastation if Smitty's investigative article exposes Ted's medical malpractice and his role as an accessory to a major crime. Shanice would be horrified. Ted's medical license would be permanently revoked. He would face serious prison time. The collateral damage of Smitty's journalistic integrity would quite literally destroy the lives of half the people in Fairmont Crest. I am honestly sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to see who blinks first in this deadly game of chicken. Will Martin confront Smitty directly and demand he drop the investigation, potentially forcing a marriage-ending ultimatum? Or will Smitty quietly gather all the evidence, write the expose of a lifetime, and hit publish before Martin even knows what is happening? There is this lingering, horrifying feeling that their marriage is already over and they are just going through the motions while the timer ticks down to 0. Are we about to watch a man sacrifice the love of his life on the altar of the truth? Or will the dark, suffocating secrets of Fairmont Crest claim yet another victim? I don't know, guys, but I have a feeling the fallout is going to be absolutely legendary.